Yo, what's up guys, Extra here. Before the video, I just wanted to point out that I made a Smogon RMT. Well, if you don't know what Smogon is, it is a competitive site where we post stuff. So, I made a Rate My Team revolving around Mega Scizor, which I peaked pretty high with, approximately 1739 on the ladder. I did drop though because I was testing some teams for this series. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Now, this commentary is post-recorded since my mic broke during the commentary. So I'm very sorry for those of you who want to hear commentary. So as you can see, I was battering with this team and I got to about 1500s. So what this series is it is the Underused Mon feature series, where every few days I would pick a mon from the UU tier and then build a team around it. So this week, or not this week, for the first video, the mon that I'm going to be building around is Mega Beedrill. Mega Beedrill, I think, is personally a very underrated Pokemon, and what I think generally why it isn't UU is the fact that it is completely overshadowed by Mega Manectric, which is an OU. So the main reasons Mega Manectric is better than Mega Beedrill is the fact that Mega Manectric is a more viable ability in that's in the OU. I'm not saying adaptability is a bad ability, it's great, but like Intimidate is just better. And there's also the fact that Beedrill has to run Protect since it has absolutely zero speed before Mega Evolving, where Manectric already has a high base speed. And the most crucial fact is that Beedrill is weak to rocks. So as a Volt Turner, you never want your team to be weak to rocks, especially your primary U-Turner, and in this case Mega Beedrill. You never want it to be weak to rocks since it's going to be switching in a lot of times, and you basically just don't want it whittled down. So these are the main reasons why Manectric is better than Beedrill. So this team I built here yesterday is consist of a Volt Turn team with Tornadus, Specs Rotom, and Beedrill as a core. They're going to try and Volt Turn and then bring in strong wall breakers such as Choice and Azu, or Life Orb Current back, and then try and break their opposing team. So I tried to find a battle here, and Showdown unfortunately quit for some reason. I don't know how that happened. So basically, the main purpose of the team is to try and bring in your strong wall breakers, break the walls, and then keep up momentum with your U-turners and Volt Turners, and then try and whittle your opponent down and win. So we find our first battle here against this offensive team, Espeon offense. So some hazard control with Espeon since he has a Talonflame on his team, and our matchup wasn't looking bad. So I believe I decided to start with Beedrill since most likely he's going to start with Espeon or Lopunny, in which case if he starts with Lopunny, I can protect the fake out and then U-turn out, and if he starts with Espeon, I can just protect and proceed to U-turn. So my game plan for this game is probably just to Volt Turn around. Specs Rotom can do a very large amount of work in this game, and Tornadus also does a lot since we are AV Tornadus, and Heat Wave can deal a huge amount to Scizor and Ferrothorn, while also being able to check Lopunny at high health. And Excadrill can also put in work by predicting Talonflame and Rotom Rock Slide, and since we do have Mold Breaker, we can hit the Rotom through Levitate since we have this Earthquake. So our opponent is taking some time to think about his move. So I'm pretty sure he leads with his Lopunny, if I'm not mistaken. So the one check to Mega Beedrill is probably priority users, and one of them is the two mons that are most threatening to Beedrill is probably Talonflame and Mega Pinsir. Mega Pinsir because it has the Air Relay Quick Attack, and Talonflame because of Gale Wings. So that's why this team consists of Bird Check and Rotom, Talent Check and Azumarill, and it also it also has what is it called again? Excadrill for Rapid Spin support, since this is a Voltron team and there are 3 mons out of the 4 mons on my team that is weak to rocks, and I really need to keep hazards at bay. So I actually tried and decided to find another battle since my opponent wasn't doing anything at all. But he ended up just starting with his Rotom. I'm just gonna Mega Evolve and Protect. He's gonna pull into Talent Flame, it's pretty obvious, but I was fine with that since I got Rotom in the back. And Specs Volt Search is gonna do a lot to everything. And if he goes out into his Lati, I can just go into Torn or even Azumarill or Beedrill to straighten it out. So it goes on to Espeon. I don't agree with that play since I was obviously going to go for the Volt Switch. He was probably predicting a Will-O-Wisp, but I had no reason to go for the Will-O-Wisp there. But I decided to just go into Beedrill, straighten the Espeon out, and that does a good chunk to Ferrothorn. So at this point, I decided to bring in my Tornadus. He's probably predicting him to switch out since he's probably going to fear the Heat Wave, and I want to keep the momentum up, so I went for the U-turn. So this is where my opponent makes a really weird play. I'm pretty sure he doubles back out into Espeon. Yeah, so he doubles back down to Espeon. I don't know why, because it looks like he's just sacking his Espeon, to be honest. So he goes back into Ferrothorn. I just continue the motion. My Beedrill is getting whittled, but that's not a problem if Hazards is not on my side. And I decided to go for the Heat Wave this time. He goes back down to Espeon. We 100% outspeed this Espeon, so I can just go for a U-turn and take it out. So the first few turns have a weird series of plays, since I don't know why he went into Espeon on Tornadus. Since we do outspeed, we reveal the U-turn, and it's not like Tornadus carries a lot of moves that can be bounced back by Magic Bounce. So I don't know why he made these plays there, but I decided just to go back into my Beedrill. It outspeeds everything on his team. If he wants to bring in Talent Flame, we have our Rotom in the back. So I was feeling pretty confident in this situation. So if he brings in a Lopunny here, I can just Protect on a Fake Out and then U-turn out. Or I can even Poison Jab, but U-turn is the better play, and I can just go into my Tornadus to send it out. So this is the most obvious Bullet Punch I've seen in my life, so I decided to go into Torn. But he actually makes a very aggressive play and goes for a U-turn, so very good play. Personally, I wouldn't have done that, but that's just me. So he goes down to his Lopunny. Obvious Fake Out return combo is coming, and a Tornadus can't take that. So I decided to stay in and take the Fake Out since the generator is going to bring me back up. And I'm going to pull into Excadrill here to take the return since he's not going to risk the high jump kick. And we take the return relatively well, and what I do here is I'm going to double into Azu because I don't want Azu taking a return, and I'd rather Azu take a high jump kick over a return. And right now my Choice Scarf Excadrill cannot OH KO Lopunny with any of my move unless I flinch. He actually thinks that Earthquake will kill, so he decided to go into Ferrothorn. So at this point, I was like, Bandit Azu could probably kill the Ferrothorn as a knockoff, but I was completely wrong. I seriously doubted. I overestimated Azu's ability, but we do 2H KO the Ferrothorn, but he did manage to get Rocks up, which we have to get rid of straight away, since I do not want Rocks on my side of the field. One problem that this team backs is that it didn't have Rocks. I was considering Scarf Rocks Excadrill, but it just didn't work out, so decided to go back onto Lopunny. I highly doubt he's going to go for the HJK. It's a really risky play, so I decided to go into Excadrill. I'm going to stack my Excadrill just to spin these rocks away, since we definitely do outspeed with the Choice Scarf. I really need these rocks off the field, and he actually pulls into Talonflame, which I'm fine with. I can keep this Excadrill, so I'm going to double back into my Rotom. I think Crisp Me was a Flare Blitz. That kind of sucks since now I'm put in range of Lopunny's return. So he decides to go into Rotom. I just will switch out of here, and I go into Exegil. We do have Mold Breaker. I decide to go for the Rock Slide. It brings Rotom down very, very low, and most of into range where my Beedrill can knock it out. And also the fact that if he switches out into his Talonflame, he just dies. So Rock Slide was the better play there, since if I Earthquake, even if he took out his Rotom, he switches out into his Talonflame, he could set up and potentially sweep me with Brave Bird. So I stand by my Rock Slide play there, and at this point I'm just going to Beedrill, finish the Rotom off with a U-turn, and I decide to go back out to Torque Key since Regenerator has put my health back up to a decent situation where I can take a few moves. At this point I'm kind of forcing him to go into Lopunny to go for the Fake Out. So I decided to go into Azul on the Fake Out, and I want to get much damage off on this Lopunny as possible using Aqua Jet. If I was my opponent here, I would probably have gone to Scizor, but we do get a nice chunk of damage on the Lopunny to the fact where Beedrill is able to KO it, and Excadrill is also able to KO it. So my opponent pulls into Scizor, nice play, nice play. So I just go back out into my Rotom, I believe. Actually, I go into my Tornti. So he goes for a Bullet Punch, that is life or damage, but I'm pretty sure he can take another one, so I decided to go for the Heat Wave. I later calced it, he actually got a pretty high roll there, so I decided to go for the Heat Wave. It hits Pound for not much damage. I don't have anything that wants to switch into Brave Bird again, since Rotom is traded by Fairbless. So I decided to just go for a Hurricane. I believe I consider sacking my Beedrill, but Beedrill can still be useful against the Lopunny. So I actually switched into Kieran Black here. I did not sack my Tornadus. So my Kieran Black surprisingly can take two Brave Birds. So I decided to go for Fusion Bolt. It deals a heavy amount to any on his team. And now if his Scizor takes me out, he's gonna die to Life or Recoil. I'm gonna pretty much secure the game here. I go out into Tornadus, and basically what I can do was, if he got into Lopunny, I would just have sacked my Rotom, and I could go back out to Tornadus, and then I can threaten Lopunny with the Hurricane, and even if he switches out into his Talonflame, the same situation would happen here. Except now he takes me out with a Brave Bird, but he's also going to die to Recoil, and then now I can just go into Beedrill, protect on the Fake Out, and then Poison Jack to take the Lopunny out. So the squad is putting in a lot of work. Mega Beedrill obviously being the MVP of the team, carrying the team on the back. So we're going to find a second battle here, and the main role of this team is basically just volt turning around and trying to get Kieran and Azul in to get off damage and then whittling the opponent down. So pretty basic volt turn team here, except the fact that we have Mega Beedrill over monsters such as Mega Manectric. So I was trying to find my second battle here. So what my previous opponent could have done there was not sack Espeon at the start. It's not like Espeon did a lot to this team anyways. Most of my mons threaten Espeon really hard, but Espeon could have been a really useful death fodder. So speaking of Espeon, we found another guy with an Espeon. At first I thought it was some kind of mono fairy, but I realized there was two psychic types on the team. So I'm pretty sure I decided to start off with my Tornadus here, since Klefki is the only thing stopping my Beedrill, and if we can get rid of Klefki, Beedrill literally just destroys his team. So I just start with my Tornadus, starts with his Espeon. I start to just go for a knockoff. Getting rid of the item on anything would be really nice. And if this was a dual screen Espeon, and it could be a problem, but we can definitely stall the screens out with full turn combos, so it isn't big of a deal. So knockoff is just the best play here. We knock off the leftovers, and he goes for a substitute, so that's surprising. I decided to go for a U-turn, break this up, and then go out into my Beedrill as he goes for a Calm Mind. Now we can just make it evolve and protect. His best play would be to switch out into Klefki, but we can still get our Mega Evolution off, so he just stays in. We protect, he baton passes, so nice play there. I personally would have hard switched, since Beedrill could, if Beedrill didn't gone for the protect, that was the same result, so I don't really know what to say. So he actually goes onto his Mew. I don't know why. U-turn does like 99% to him as he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm fine with him burning my Tornadus. I'm just going to go for a knockoff here and take the Mew out. Even if I'm burned, Mew at 12% cannot take a knockoff from any Tornadus, even if it's -6 burn. I'm pretty sure. He decides to go into Klefki. I'm just going to go straight up for the Heat Wave here. I really need this Klefki weaken. He goes for a Reflect, so that's fine by me. If he wants to go for a Life Screen here, he'll probably live on like 4. So he does live on 4. I saw Knockoff could take him out, but it does absolutely nothing. But Knockoff was actually a better play there since we did stall out one of the Screen's turns, and also that the fact that he his light play is gone, so if he decides to preserve, Screens can't be set back as much as it can. So I'm pretty sure I decided just to sack my Tornadus here, since I don't want this Azu freely belly drumming up. Now this team is not weak to belly drum Azu at all. We can just go into our Rotom here and click Volt Switch. We are Specs, so I was pretty sure we're gonna kill. Aquajet does about 50%, and surprisingly, Volt Switch does not kill. But like I said, this team is not weak to Belly Drum Azu at all, because we also have Cure in Black, which outspeeds, and also only takes about 50% from the Aquajet. So, going to Cure in Black, we just can Fusion Bolt here. It hits everything on his team. Aquajet does about 50%, and we can take the Azu out. So, at this point, it was looking very good in favor of me. Beedrill can just clean up after screens are gone. Alteri decides to come out. I know for a fact we outspeed, and we can just hit him with the Ice Beam. It is 4 times effective. Even if he Mega Evolves, he's still going to take a decent chunk. So in Mega Evolves, he's going to take a decent chunk, 50% more. He goes for a Dragon Dance. That is not a problem at all, since Scarf Extra 100% outspeeds the Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria is not that fast. Doesn't have high base speed, and Scarf Extra 100% can just clean up this game with Iron Head, since Beedrill didn't even have to come out. Extra just cleaned up the game. Togekiss 100% died. It does not outspeed Scarf Extra, and I can take the Espeon out. So this team so far so good. It was working really, really well. I really like the squad, and I feel like it's one of the better squads I've built lately. But anyhow, we finished our game with a small mini Exegil sweep in the end, and we're gonna hop into our third battle here. Now, this guy had a really, really cool team consisting of Honchkrow and Diggersby. Diggersby is a very, very underrated strat. I've personally used it before and I really liked it. I decided just to start with my Rotom since I can pull off a Volt Switch or Hydro Pump against anything. I predicted him to stay in and go for the Rocks since it was the most optimal place. He knows my team is Volturn and he needs to get Rocks up right away. So I'd go for the Hydro Pump and we take the Landorus out. So now he loses his Rock Setter and all we need to do is get an extra safely to get up the Rapid Spin. So he goes into his Latios as expected. We're going to go into our Tornadus. He goes for the Side Shark. That does a huge amount. And we're just going to go for a knockoff here. We can get rid of the item, Life Orb, and we can potentially threaten this thing out. So he goes out into Scizor. It reveals to be Mega Scizor. So he can go for the Bullet Punch here. I have to preserve this Tornadus. And here's when the things are interesting. I should have Earthquake here. Earthquake was the better play. But I decided to go for the Rapid Spin. If he was SDC attacks, I lost right here. Because he could have easily pulled off two Sword Dance on my Rapid Spin, and I have to switch. And he can just sweep me with Bullet Punch, Bug Bite, and Superpower if he is SD3 attacks. So I had to sack my Tornadus here, and I had to pray that he is not SD3 attack instead of but bulky SD instead. So this I made a very, very stupid play. I was gonna preserve the Regenerator to see if I can live a Bullet Punch at full, but that wasn't the case, and I accidentally just sacked my Exegil. So this is the point in the game where if he's Bug Bite, he easily takes me out, and I just lose. But if he's U-turn, he will go for the U-turn, take me out. His boost will be gone, and I can potentially still pull this game back by utilizing Tornadus wisely and using trying to get a heat wave off the Scizor. So this was actually really unfortunate for my opponent. I believe his mouse got stuck and he couldn't move at all. So I decided to start a timer not knowing what to do. So he couldn't do. My opponent apparently mouse broke, so he couldn't do anything here, and it was really unfortunate for my opponent. If he was SD3 attacked, I just lost right there. I played that terribly. I should have Earthquakes. I should have Earthquake, gone into Tornadus, threatened him to go for the Bullet Punch, sacked my Tornadus, go into Exegil, I live a Bullet Punch, and go for another Earthquake and take him out. And if he was SD Roost, I couldn't. I forced him to not go for the Roost on my Tornadus since I threatened him with Heat Wave. So I played that really terribly there. But this guy is really unfortunate. He says that his mouse is broken and couldn't do anything about it. I decided to stop the timer to wait for this guy a little. He played much better than me, so I think he does deserve the win. But then again, I'm not just gonna let go of a free victory, so I'm gonna stop the timer to wait for him. And but since I am recording a video, I am not gonna be stopping the timer for too long. The same case goes for any other lives I do in the future. So this part of the match was just pretty boring. It was just him trying to fix his mouse. So let me take this opportunity here to explain more about this series. So every 3 or 4 days, I'll be choosing a UU mon that I think is very underrated, and I'm going to be building a team around it. The teams that I build are going to be tested and are going to be put into their full potential, because I personally really love building teams, and especially giving myself a challenge to build a team, such as using an underused mon. I feel like it's really fun, and this series could go really well, and I can potentially, I really wish that some of these mons are more viable in OU, since they are definitely threats in OU. People just don't recognize them as threats. So this is why I decided to start the series. And big shout out to Resilient for inspiring me. He actually has a Mega Evolution Highlight series, which is where I got my inspiration from, where he introduces a Mega Evolution every few days and makes a team builds a team around it. This is the same thing, except I'm using underrated mons instead. So at this point in the game, he couldn't fix his mouse. I just decided to put my timer back on, since I am recording a video. I don't want to be stuck here for 30 minutes waiting for this guy. So I'm pretty sure he just forfeits right here. He doesn't forfeit, he just lets the timer slowly drain him down and forfeits. So this match could have gone really bad. So he decided just to forfeit, and since I don't need to be wasting my time around here, I decided to go find another the last battle of the day. So basically, this team is putting in a lot of work, and I'm gonna say I really enjoy this team. And Voltron is actually not a favorite playstyle of mine. I prefer hyper offense or pure offense. I don't like stall or balance or Voltron, but this team I think was built quite successfully, and I do enjoy using it. So I decided to find my last battle here. We found this really cool camera squad, and I decided to lead with my Rotom, since it literally deals with anything else. Actually, sorry, my bad. I started to lead with my Exegil, since it deals with everything on this team except for Mew and Manaphy, and Mew can be threatened out easily. So I decided to lead with my Exegil. I put the timer on to put some pressure on him. If he leads, so he decided to lead Clefable, which is a really good matchup against me. So I could Iron Head here, or I could go into Rotom predicting a Manaphy wanting to come out, which I think is a really nice play, since we can pressure the opponent a lot, since he's not going to be wanting to bring his camera up in on a Rotom. this play works out for me, and I'm just going to go for a Volt Switch. There's no way he's going to go into camera. If I go for the Hydro Pump, he loses his one of his biggest threats to my team. So I go for the Volt Switch here. He goes out into Mew, we do a huge chunk, and we just go into our Beedrill and a Mega Evolve and go for the U-turn. So he probably knows I'm going to protect, but he actually just straight up goes for a Flamethrower, and we take him out with a U-turn. So one big stress to my extra shield gone. I go back out. I go out into my Rotom since we are specs and we can do a lot of damage. He goes down to Gengar. We're just gonna Volt Switch. He actually is sub Gengar. I knew I could live any hit from Gengar. That's why I went for a Volt Switch. I wanted to pull off a slow Volt Switch so I can go out into my Beedrill. And now we can just demolish this Gengar with an knockoff. It 100% kills. That crit didn't matter at all. He could have switched out into Clefable, but he decided just to forfeit, and this guy also loses. So that is going to be the end of this live right here. If you enjoyed, please drop a like. This series is going to continue for quite some time. And if you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And with that, peace out.